welcome to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. My name is Abraham Deweese. I'm back again with the SoCal Seahawk, Rob English, and Nathan Savage. And of course, on the boards is one damn dirty duck, Matt Page. Welcome, guys. We just had a spectacular Seahawk game. Well, spectacular if you like close games, right?
Yeah.
If you like close games, if you have grown a bit tired of close games, would like to see a rout every once in a while in your favor, yeah, you don't appreciate it so much.
um, well, actually, that was something that I was thinking about. Is do you guys have any concern that while we do have the record that we have, the 6-3, that the wins are all very close? And are we just getting lucky, or is that a sign of is that a sign of a team that can overcome hardship and turmoil?
I mean,
Um,
yeah. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Nate.
I've just seen teams like the Bucks recently. I know Geno Smith's no Tom Brady, but I've seen teams that seem to have that magic factor, that it factor, where late in games the quarterback can lead them, even when the offense is sputtered all game, and the defense can really carry them to keep the game close until that point. So, yeah, I would much rather have blowouts, but very famously, even when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, they beat a team that was blowing everyone out by blowing them out in the Broncos. So I think for me, defense wins championships, and this defensive style of football is what you need late in the year when it gets extra cold, a little drizzly in Lumen Field.
Yeah, I think for me it's concerning. Not being able to put away teams that are supposed to be at a tier or two below you. With consideration to number one, your record, number two, expectations, and number three, hopefulness, hope, right? We want to think the Seahawks are a tier higher than maybe they actually are, and not be able to put away teams like the Cardinals, put away teams like the Browns, despite their great defense, or teams like Washington this past weekend. It gives me a little bit of pause. I wonder if this can carry us past the wild card round or maybe divisional round, right? Who knows? But can you really get there until we get a little more sure on offense?
A question about a little more sure on offense: is the game-winning drive a little more compelling to you as far as a resurgence from Geno Smith and from DK Metcalf too? I kind of see this as a good sign. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Nate.
Don't everybody rush
Okay.
at once
Yeah.
to confirm my opinion.
I think it's a really good sign. I think just with the way the NFL is, the games are so close, and very often you need that quarterback that's going to provide you some magic late in games. And early in the year, it really felt like against the Rams, against other teams, Gino would just stall and then never really get back into it. He would stay kind of stalled out for the rest of the game. And I have like the kind of recent trend where it seems like late in games when things get difficult, when the offense, let's face it, hasn't been that high caliber offense that we want to see. It's really nice to see Gino figure out a way to get us points and win the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that excuse me. I think that any week, it's any given Sunday, right? And even the best teams go out against teams that are considered to be lesser from time to time, and the game goes down to the end. So I definitely align with you there, Nate. I guess though, I think Gino's inability to make things happen early was a byproduct of all the other things that were going wrong. I don't think that the opportunities just weren't there, and then that's why the plays weren't made. So I don't know. Yeah, on the whole, I think I need to see the offense just turn a corner, become more consistent, and then I think we have a chance. As we get into the end of December.
One of the things I really am excited about as far as the Seahawks, they've shown a history of going out and getting somebody. Sometimes they didn't get it right, and I complain about it on this very show. But sometimes I think they do get it right. This Leonard Williams from the Giants, I liked what I saw from him. He had something like 3 or 4 quarterback hurries. What was your
Yeah,
guys' impression of him?
Yeah,
yeah. Leonard Williams
what
looks
I
he
like,
look he looks
yeah,
really good.
sorry.
Whoops. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Rob. Rob, go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, he looks really good. I think he has got a 3.5 sacks, I think, so far, or some a few sacks, got a couple sacks already. He's been a force in the middle of the line. I mean, I think, yeah, I said before when we signed him, he's going to be great to have in a rotation because it keeps us all strong. And him, so far being on that front line is worth wonders.
Do you see him, Rob, as star talent, or is he rotational? Is that his best?
I see in this this defense. I see it as a rotational position. I don't see him becoming the next star, defensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks. I think it's a rotation, and that's what we've always done. We've never really had a real true big star on the defensive line. Even our great years, Chris Clemens and those guys, like they were never like superstars, right? But all work together. And I think that's what we have going on here.
Yeah. Okay, Nathan. What about you? What do you think?
I think for me with those interior defensive linemen, basically when you have a guy that's elite in the interior, it's that guy that can get double teamed, split them like pretty consistently and make plays over and over and disrupt things. And I mean, we've seen the best in the business in Aaron Donald, sadly, twice every year. And there's another guy on the Jets like Quinnen Williams. That's what they're doing all game, and they're getting all these props for it. And I was watching this recent game, and that's what we had with Williams all game long. Is it felt like even on his sack, he was getting double teamed, and he was able to split it and get to the quarterback and just really kind of wreck the game plan of the other team. It takes two guys to take on one of your own defenders, and then that defender's ruining the play over and over. I just it's one game, and I think the elite guys do it every game against the best O lines. But in terms of this game, it felt like we have an elite interior D lineman. It was really nice. So,
well, okay, carry that through. What do you think about Leonard Williams against the 49ers and even the Rams coming up? I mean, was this just him feasting on a team a woebegone team, or is he the real deal?
Ooh, it's a tough one. I mean, we can only look at the body of work, right? We had to look at the body of work, and we haven't. What's the best offensive line he's seen so far as a Seahawk? Well, it certainly will be, right?
Yeah.
Certainly will be the Niners. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to call.
Still open.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, he's facing the cream of the crops coming up because Cowboys on past D are insane. Eagles maybe the best in the entire NFL, and then the Niners a couple times, and Rams seem to have our number in terms of pass blocking last time. But again, one thing I do really want to say is that Commanders team was no joke. Like they probably are the team that's taken the Eagles the furthest into the game, where the Eagles, both times they play them, needed game-winning drives. And that Eagles team we're going to play might be the best team in the NFL, or definitely has the best record. So I don't know if it was necessarily the easiest competition for him, but it definitely is maybe not the 1, 2, 3 best O-lines in the NFL right now. And I think it's just, I'm really happy that we at least have that level of player. Whether or not he can rise to that elite level against those type of O-lines is we're going to have to kind of see. But at least for this game, I think he made a huge difference.
Right on. Question for you guys about Boye Mafe. The Seahawks kind of swung and missed on edge rushers recently. Alton Robinson and Darrell Taylor. I'm ready for those two guys to go, by the way. But what has Mafe done to set himself apart from those other young guys?
Well, he's continued to progress. He's gotten better and better and better. He and even Pete Carroll will speak to it. He just has always shown that he was picking it up. All that they were putting down for him, and he just progressed and gotten better. I don't know if sometimes it's a matter of situation. You know what I mean? To say he's necessarily better than other players, but he's definitely performing for whatever it's worth and whatever got him there. He's shown the progress and he's out there making plays.
Yeah, to me, I think the big one is it seems like with these sacks, he's letting the game almost come to him. I would say with like someone like you mentioned earlier, Darrell Taylor, it feels like he's really forcing it where he's like 5 yards back behind the QB and opening up big holes for the running game and making things difficult on the rest of our team in order to try to get those sacks. And it feels like Boye Mafe's not just only thinking about a sack every game. I need to get my sack, and it feels like it's coming to him. And maybe it's a little bit of luck to set the Seahawks record, but it takes a certain level of skill, preparation, all of those to have luck in the NFL. So I just super stoked that we get to see a record and from a player that seems to be only improving every week.
And for the listeners out there, what's that record again?
I think it's 7 games in a row with the sack.
Yeah, seven right now. I think he blows the record out the door.
7 games in a row with a sack, which beat Michael Sinclair's record. Yeah.
Right. And I think he blows it out of the. I think it's not only possible. I think it's likely that he gets a sack in. Certainly, this next game coming up, and I think why not? I mean, he's 7 games in a row. I think the guy can get a sack a game. Unless teams really start, keying on him. I think he's shown that he's going to get there sooner or later. I think he's going to maybe beat this record by 2 or 3 sacks.
Go ahead.
2 or 3 games, I should say.
Double team him. That'd be great because we haven't had that for a while with the Seahawks. A D lineman that other teams double team, thus opening up. I'd say it's been since the Bennett Averill days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those Bennett Averill. There's no duo better than that since.
Maybe Clowney got double teamed, but I think on the other side we weren't getting sacks off of him. So
yeah.
He didn't have the effect that we were looking for. Not that we hoped for anyway.
I think he was solid. So Clowney to me was like a solid player, but he wasn't the number 1 overall draft pick, that you'd expect to be a super duper star. But I don't want to jump on him too much because he was effective. He just wasn't a sack master.
Yeah, I think we all thought we were going to get more out of just out of that transaction period. I think we just thought we were going to get more. He's over there making plays for the Baltimore Ravens right now, though.
True. Do you guys ever sit there and think about like sometimes how a star player, like in this case Nuosu, the defensive edge, him going down? Do you think part of it, like in Maffe's brain or soul or whatever it is, says someone needs to stick up and maybe it's stand out? Maybe that's me.
Yeah, I think that happens. These guys in those locker rooms, especially when you have a good locker room, it's a brotherhood, and when you have great players on the team, the guys under them look up to them. And so, Boye got his opportunity knowing that Uchenna was going down, who was a great player. I think you want to get up there and show that you can, stand for your dude and put the best effort forward. It's a rite of passage even kind of in a way. So you want to go out there and perform.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder if, sometimes on teams, the star player, everybody just stands around watching them, not literally standing around, but you guys know what I mean.
Sure.
So Jamal Adams, speaking of a guy who's a star player, I think I'm coming to grips, guys, with Adams is what he is. He's a guy who's going to make an amazing play, and he's a guy who's going to do something silly. Like, for example,
Whiff,
He
whiff on a wide open sack. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to whiff on a wide open sack, but he actually played some really good pass defense at times, and I think I'm I finally converted, guys. I think I'm finally to the point where I accept he's there to be a shake. He shakes things up. I'll put it that way. But it's rolling for Dungeons and Dragons fans, it's rolling a die, and maybe it's a critical miss or a critical hit. God only knows what the roll is going to come up with.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
for
He just
me,
seems.
go for it.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Nathan.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I was say, yeah, he just seems like a bit of a wild card. He's not like a wild card like DK Metcalf is with his emotions. It's just with his play. One game he blows right by the quarterback. He looked like the quarterback was sitting there on a plate on a platter waiting for Adams to just light him up. And I don't know, maybe he was thinking about not getting a roughing the passer call or what, but he blows right by the guy. I couldn't wrap my head around that. But in the previous week, he jumps up real high and takes a football off the head, and we we get the interception,
Win the
and it
game,
seals the
yeah.
game. So it's definitely seemed like it's boom or bust. And he's tackling well. I'll give him that. He's tackling okay. He's quietly having a decent season. Tackling the ball carrier. But yeah, it's just we expect him
Are
to
you
be
okay?
that X factor, to do something amazing, and
Are you
hit or
okay
miss.
with that, or would you rather see something different?
I tried to not be okay with it, and then Steve Rabel dropped some big knowledge on me, and he's like, "No, dude, don't. If you can get Jamal Adams, you get Jamal Adams." And I was like, "Okay, I'll listen to you." So, you know what? I like if you got a guy who has that kind of talent, you get the guy, and you accept the little bit of shortcomings he has.
So Nathan, some of the analytics can point towards Adams not being that good, uh, but sometimes the eye test says, "Oh my God, this guy's a difference maker." Where do you land on this?
So for me, I'm just number one, super excited to have him back. I think maybe the biggest weakness right now with the defense is that middle of the field with the linebackers and safeties just seeming to lack a little bit of speed and letting quarterbacks or running backs in the flat, getting screen passes, that type of thing, take it to the house or just have wide open plays because they just can't get there in time. And I really like Bobby. I like Brooks, and they seem like those really steady guys. But they're especially Wagner's a little bit older. He's lost a step. That speed is missing. So I feel like Adams still has the speed, and they really need that, and he's super valuable because of that. And I think he's even mentioned it. Some of his recovery's been difficult from this injury. In between games, he's feeling like he's not getting fully back to where he wants to be by game day. And I think that's improving a little bit, and he'll get back to where he was. But I think the play you guys are talking about with Howell is like a perfect example. 3 years ago, it takes that level of speed to get there. He broke through like a lineman just because he was so fast, but that last fast twitch kind of muscle needed to get the sack, he's just a little bit off. So he makes that spectacular play, but maybe he doesn't finish that spectacular play. And for me, at least for right now, I think the Seahawks need that speed, and hopefully very soon, but he can get back that kind of fast twitch athleticism to fully complete those plays, because I think like we saw last week, and teams like the Rams, Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, they're going to take full advantage of any weakness on your defense. And right now it feels like that lack of speed in the middle of the field um, is where teams are going to take advantage. So I'm honestly pretty excited for Adams, and I'm ready for him to come back to the Adams that we traded the draft picks for, hopefully.
Right on. Let's take a look. Let's take a look ahead at the game ahead of us on Sunday, which is against the Rams. They're 3-6, but I think when you talk about Rams and Seahawks, the record kind of goes out the window. I want to say we've only beat them 4 times. They beat us. They beat us 9 of the last 13 times. So we don't seem to do great against them. I mean, even before then, with Jeff Fisher, it
Yeah,
seems like they would always get a trick play with a punter that defeats us.
yeah. Tavon
Um,
Austin.
what's
Yeah.
why can't we? Yeah, exactly. Why can't we beat this team? I mean, like this is crazy. I'm sick of it.
Listen, Jeff Fisher must have left, a book under the couch, some notes under the couch or something, because McVay came in and I think we assumed um, that there would be a little bit of a drop off there at that when that there was that coaching change um, and they didn't skip a beat really. The
No, they won
we
a Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. But I mean, like, just even when the Seahawks were the power of the NFC West, the Rams typically would give us some trouble. And they just always have. I was actually really excited leading up to this because I knew Stafford wasn't going to be there. We made Stafford look like a genius. So many weeks ago, right? First game of the year. And I was hoping he wasn't going to be playing, but it looks like he's going to be back on the field. And Puka Nakua was introduced against us. I mean, and now we have Cooper. Like it looks like it could be one of those games. Like I thought we had this figured out. I've been negative today, but I'm just trying to be objective.
How about you, Nathan?
For me, it's just one guy. Stafford is, I still think, elite quarterback when he's healthy, but it's Aaron Donald. I think for whatever reason, I mean, he is a Hall of Famer, all-time player, but something about the Pete Carroll game plan, something about the way they like to run the offense in Seattle, Aaron Donald is like tailor-made to defeat that. And that's the one name that's kind of been there through all these eras, you could say, of Rams football, and where we've kind of struggled recently. And I feel like I just really want him to not play this game, even though he's going to play, because last year when he wasn't there, all of a sudden the Rams game felt a lot different, a little easier of a game. And first game of the year, I thought he'd see more of that. And then there's Aaron Donald wrecking the whole offensive game plan. So that's the guy for me. I think somehow they have to get him out of Geno's face. I don't know if that's playing Charbonnet a lot more and not playing Walker as much, just to get an extra hit, an extra man on him. But for me, it's all about Aaron Donald this game again.
What do you guys think about that? Last week and the week before, Charbonnet's been getting more snaps than Kenny Walker. Does that mean anything?
I'm wondering that. I don't know if are they hiding something going on with Kenny, or do they just like what Zach is doing? And I tell you what, I like what Zach is doing with the ball in his hand. He runs strong. He has a very head forward running style. I mean, he kind of does run through people when he has the opportunity to, but he's super shifty, and I think he's deceptively fast. He looks a half a beat ahead of the defense out there when he gets into just a little bit of open space. I'm liking him with the ball in his hand.
Yeah, and I think I wasn't too privy to it until you were mentioning it kind of the last few weeks about Walker's pass blocking, but that has looked almost increasingly worse. And I think that's the big story, is they're just starting to get a little fed up with just how weak he seems. I don't remember that a couple years ago, but maybe it was a little bit of weakness, but or even last year, but something's off this year, it seems like, on pass blocking. And I think right now, just with the line being injured and some of those struggles, even though it's getting healthy, they can't afford to have that big of a weak link protecting the quarterback right now.
Yeah, especially since Geno needs all the help that he can get. We're coming up close to the end of the show, but I just got to bring this up, guys. I've been going on various websites. Nothing legitimate, just stupid blog sites like us. And Rams writers seem to think that Seahawks are an easy out. I mean, gosh, we lost in week 1, but I think we're a way better team than we were in week 1.
100%. I think we come into this game a much, to your point, a much better team. I just don't know that we're going up against now another division rival. that kind of throws a little wrench in the works. Teams that know how to stick it to you just the right way because they know you so well. We have the liability to get caught there. I'd like to see this game go, a two score victory. I just, with Stafford, playing in this one, I think it's going to be as competitive as the first time around, honestly.
Yeah, for me, I can't remember if McVay is one of those coaches that's also undefeated as off a bye. Um, I think he's pretty solid though, or at one point he was undefeated recently. So that's a tough one for me. I think right now the Seahawks are a much better team, and I think the Rams kind of have fallen off a little bit, but they're coming off a bye. They've had, the bullseye on the Hawks for 2 weeks, and something about that Puka Cooper Cup combo that's gonna have a rare appearance again, where both are playing and both are healthy, is scaring me a lot with Stafford. So I think it is going to be a very hard fought game.
Right on. I want to get in predictions, but I want to bring up a non NFL question for both of you. But it is a former NFL head coach, Jim Harbaugh. I don't know if you guys have been following the saga of Harbaugh at University of Michigan. I just want to get your guys' thoughts about sign stealing, and do we see Jim Harbaugh jump to the NFL at some point?
Yeah, so I think for
Um,
me, sorry, yeah, for me, number one is I think a lot of teams are doing it, and I think it was well documented that a lot of teams were doing it, not to this level, but my favorite thing almost in all of football is watching angry Jim Harbaugh from his time on the Niners with his khakis, or even in the Stanford days when they lost to UW. So for me, I think it's a bummer, and I hope it gets kind of sorted out. But I honestly, I've been laughing the whole time about Jim Harbaugh and getting involved
All
in one of
right.
these
So,
situations again, and his face, how he's going to be upset on the sideline and stuff. So I'm just happy to see angry Jim
so
Harbaugh again.
So, so Rob, Nathan fully endorses cheating at every level, even the highest. How about you?
um, well, I look at it as sort of it's kind of a spirit of the law versus letter of the law type of thing. I think sign stealing is a tale as old as time. It's done in clever ways to where it's not so you're not actually jotting things onto your steno pad or anything like that. But no, it's gamesmanship. You just do it in ways that doesn't look like it. Um, I'm excited for the potential of Jim Harbaugh coming back. I To Nathan's point, I loved seeing angry Jim Harbaugh on the sideline when the Seattle was beating him, when Cam Chancellor was knocking Vernon Davis out cold. I love that era. I respect him as a coach. I'd like to see him back in the league just to get that Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, that saga going again. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, it'd be neat to have him back in the NFL, which I think he will be back in the NFL soon because this FBI investigation of his assistant coaches is going to turn this thing into a total disaster at Michigan.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm really even against sign stealing. I find it hilarious how vehemently they deny it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, just say you did it, and what do like,
Right, because
sorry,
not like
like,
everybody else doesn't do it. I mean, before Deflategate, that's what New England got in
same
trouble
thing.
for,
It was the
right?
same
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think they
But
definitely
yeah,
in
I mean,
college
it's
need to
against the rules. I
switch.
mean,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
go
just
ahead. What
think
were we gonna say,
they
Nathan?
need to switch to having a headset in a couple players' earpieces like they have in the NFL with like the green sticker.
Yeah,
Um, and I
that
think
armband
this,
that
yeah,
armband fixes this problem.
yeah, they need to. I think it's like an overall problem on the NCAA's part where they let this slide for kind of too long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that too. But I think with that, the recruits and the FBI investigation for the hard drives or the hacking, I think he's going to be in the NFL, and that will be fun to see again. All right, we're getting towards the end of our show, but let's do predictions for this Sunday's game against the Rams. What do you guys have? I can start it if you guys want. Let me start. Uh, I think that this is another knockdown, drag out fight. I do think we topped the Rams though. because I like this new look Seahawks defense. While we are going to yield yardage, I don't think we yield that many points. So I'm looking at a 28-21 Seahawks win.
I am going to. I'm not quite in line with you, but I'm close. I see this game being tough. I see the quarterback for the Rams throwing for over 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns. But I feel like we're going to manage to win this game. I wouldn't call it a shootout. I'm going to say 24-21. And it's going to be a timely, opportunistic play on the defense that's going to stop the comeback of the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, so I would say if it was a fully healthy Stafford, I think the Rams would win this game. But I saw that thumb injury. I didn't think he'd be back by now. And I don't think it's fully healthy. I think he's going to be favoring that a little bit. And so I think it'll be a kind of very defensive game. And I'll say 20-17 Seahawks.
All right. Well, we'll see who was most correct this Sunday afternoon. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining the show. Oh, wait, we got to do shout outs, guys. Let's do our shout outs because it is Thanksgiving coming up, and we should remember to always be thankful. And I'll go ahead and get the ball rolling here on the shout outs. I'm going to give a shout out to Brian Kemp, my friend, who ran for Stanwood City Council. Didn't win, but it's great to see that he's making something of himself in the community and being a great help to the citizenry up there in Stanwood.
Awesome. I'm going to give my shout out to my real estate agent, Chrissy Valentine, here in the greater Phoenix area, Chandler. If you ever plan on moving to the area, hit up Chrissy. She's great. We're actually closing on my new house in
Right
Phoenix on the 18th of December. So shout out to my real estate agent and myself, I guess. Toot my own horn. Thank you so much.
So I'll shout out Daisuke in Japan. He's part of the family, and he is always a big Hanshin Tigers fan, even though Tokyo's a Giants team, Yomiuri Giants. And Hanshin a couple weeks ago broke their about 40-year World Series drought for the Japanese Baseball League and won. So shout out to Daisuke and his Hanshin Tigers.
Are you listening, Mariners? Are you paying attention? That's awesome. Well, thank you yet again for joining us on the Seattle Sports Union, and keep in touch with us on social media on Facebook and Twitter at Seattle Sports Union. Well, check out our newly redesigned website at seattlesportsunion.com. As well, keep listening to our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Captivate FM. And once again, I want to thank you, Nathan Savage, and you, Rob the SoCal Seahawk. And even out there on our boards, that damn dirty duck Matt Page. Thank you. And on behalf of all these guys, I'm Abraham Duis, and we'll see you guys next time.
Go Hawks.